Good morning, I'm Susan Jane and I'm the Intuitist. This morning I would love to talk to you about something a friend of mine asked me about. And she asked me how do we teach our children to be more in tune with their intuition, to trust it more. Because as young children we are very in tune with all things spiritual, but as we grow and develop we can lose that touch, or we tend to shut down and close down a little bit with it. So she was asking me, how can she make sure her child stays in tune with it, keeps that connection alive and strong and using it basically, because the intuition's always there. It's just how we use it and how developed we create it. So one of the aspects that I did with my parenting, and still really do actually, is I always put things back onto the child. Now when they go through school, the difference with school is they usually have a right or wrong answer. So like the maths, there's a right or wrong answer. There's no conception, there's no concepts. It's all about, this is the right answer, that is not the right answer. So it creates a lot of drama and a lot of pressure on the child. I know it going through as a child, I would get answers and I may not have known how I got those answers. So I may have been getting them intuitively and could not explain that to the teacher. Consequently, they often class you as cheating or as, well, you've got to show me how you got that answer. But you don't always know when you're using your intuition. And that was one of my biggest problems. And I experienced that all the way through high school, and later in life when I went to uni. I went back to uni when I was in my late 40s. So I experienced that again in that sort of situation. They gave you the idea of the concept. They wanted you to create concepts at university, but you had to find proof that concept was legitimate. And the only way you could find proof is to see if other scholars had the same idea. And it became very, very, very restricting and very, you're only right if everyone else says you're right. So when your child is going through, say, primary school, we want to try and open up and give them an idea about concepts, about not necessarily having a right or wrong answer. So in doing this, the best way when a child asks a question is to give them a couple of ideas and see what they feel is the right answer. Now obviously if it's something that's detrimental to their health, as in is that hot, mummy? You would definitely say yes. If it's hot, there's no giving you a choice. But if you're teaching a child, which is what parents are there for, if you're teaching a child, then you would sort of go, well, yes, it is hot, but how are the ways we can find out that it's hot? How can we test that? What would you do? And they could say, well, I could put my hand on it, but if it's hot, you wouldn't want to put your hand on it. You could put your hand near it. That's a good idea. How else can you tell? Can you tell by the colour of it? Not always. Can you tell by this? Can you tell by that? And you're teaching the child to use their imagination and to actually start to connect with their ideas and thoughts. This will allow their intuition to come through. Because although we're thinking, we're actually opening up our minds as well to allow the intuition to come through. I remember a particular time with my daughter when she was at high school, and she was just at that stage where she wanted to go and party. Now we lived on a 90-acre organic crop farm, so I did have a bit of trouble getting in and out of town, and because I did such long hours on the farm, staying up late to pick up kids from parties wasn't ideal. So when she would go to someone's party or a friend's place, it was usually for a sleepover. So this was sort of became quite common. She'd go to a friend's place maybe once a month for a sleepover. And her friends would come over to the farm for a sleepover. They used to love coming to the farm. So that was all good. And there's this particular party, and as soon as she said she wanted to go to this party, it was like, oh, I intuitively thought, no, not liking the feeling of this one. Didn't quite gel with me. And so I said to her, well, sweetheart, how do you feel about this party? And she went, oh no, it'll be a good party, Mum. And I said, so the people that you feel are going to this party, how do you feel you connect with them? And she stopped and had to think about it. And she goes, oh, and she knew that there was people going to that party that she didn't really want to be part of. And I said, so have you got enough friends around you that you would still feel safe at this party? Because I had a strange feeling about it. And I said, just think about it, darling. If you feel safe at this party and you feel that it's okay for me to just drop you off and let you go back to your friend's place, then so be it. I will do that if that's what you want. But I need you to be very confident that that's how you feel this party will be. She ended up coming back to me and she goes, Mum, I decided not to go to the party. And I went, okay. No, I didn't question it. I didn't push it. I didn't emphasise anything. I just let her go. I trusted her intuition, and I allowed her to trust it as well. And I'd never heard what happened at that party, but I know it wasn't a good one. So these are the sort of things that we can help our children. We can get them to make sure they stay focused on them and how they're feeling and what they're experiencing, because they're the ones that have to live with it. They're the ones that have got to cope with it. So that is, someone's just started their little noisy thing. So I'm going to say bye for now, and I'll talk a bit more about this subject later on. All right, have a great day. Bye.